Yeah, I want to go back and just really make this point again about moving the goalposts. I thought that was a great analogy you used because initially the whole idea was we're going to flatten the curve. That was how many times did we hear we're going to flatten the curve so the hospital system's not overwhelmed, and that was more or less accomplished. I mean, especially in places like Texas where we've been relatively unaffected until
it was accomplished everywhere except New York City.
Yeah,
New York City was the only outlier,
and all of a sudden it went from that to we ought to be not having any cases at all, which how do you do that with a respiratory virus? I don't know how that's possible when you don't have a vaccine.
No, it's silly. And policymakers just showed a complete inability to engage in basic critical thinking. I mean, I think in hindsight, it's just absolutely deplorable what happened. I mean, comparing there was I remember our county judge talking about Houston, like looking at New York City and saying, this is what's next for Houston. We have to be prepared. And I'm like, on what planet do you think that New York City is anything like Houston?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as I mean, the things that matter, at least the population density, international travel, like it
subways,
right? You know. And luckily, we didn't have a governor who told COVID-19 infected patients to go back into their nursing homes like like Andrew Cuomo did in New York. Mm-hmm. You know, there's reasons New York was like that, and it takes some basic critical thinking skills to understand why that is, and then make rational policy decisions as a result. We just you know, again, Texas didn't overreact nearly as bad as many other states, thankfully, and that's because of our governor, whose main data point he was looking at was hospitalizations, and then a basic understanding that this is a risk we have to live with, and it is up to individuals interacting properly with each other, or choosing not to and assuming that risk.